Welcome back to Enlightened Trading. My name is Conrad, and yeah, I give you another update on Bitcoin today. So, starting things out, one difference I noticed, and that was actually just yesterday, a few hours ago, was that this is on BitMEX, the exchange on which I trade. Our high was at 10,600, and as I talked about on Bitstamp, it's actually quite significantly lower. It's like $300 lower on 10,360. So that also is the reason why here the trend line on the top is much steeper compared to the trend line on the bottom. And in my opinion, this 4-hour tightening range broke, and at least on BitMEX it did. And as you can see, we had lowering highs with a clear trend line and a lot of rejections and multiple touches on the bottom, coming in with this touch right here too for support, and a very clear break of the higher lows on the hourly chart, with the descending trend line on the top being resistance. So, well, and as expected, or I mean not as expected, but I thought the likelihood of this breaking bearish was a bit more to the upside, or I mean, what was the general chance of this breaking bearish was higher, not much, but a little bit higher than of this to break bullish, since this acted as continuing resistance for price, and price just kept flattening out and not really doing much and having no real buy volume. So that got me a bit concerned. I got stopped out on this in not on my whole trade, but on some of my gains, and I just exited also on this breaking up a little bit, not much, but some of my position, half of my position I exited from down here and up here, which I bought, and also bought back in here and in here. So generally I am up still, and yeah, I just sold half of my position, since this is not an ideal trading environment for Bitcoin right now. And as you can see, the price, as it broke, it came back up very sharply on the 15-minute and on the 5-minute. It gets very clear, and the price is now holding above this upper resistance trend line, which of course is important in my opinion. I think a retest is necessary for this to break to the upside. I am currently again in a position, and yeah, well, I think the chance that this equilibrium is finished is actually unlikely, because, well, if although I say that we broke on the 4-hour and on the 1-hour, I think, I mean, to the downside on the 4-hour, I think on the 12-hour we still can be very the chance of being in an still in an equilibrium is much higher than on the 4 and 1-hour chart, because this is very significant reversal doji, and I think the chance that this is a high, lower high, higher low is very important. This, I'm not too sure if this is a higher low. On the 4-hour, of course it is. So the 12th hour course, this could be of significance, and it's also the 0.5 retracement mark. So I think this is now our higher low, and we will look for a lower high on the 12-hour chart, in the 9,600 area, I think. So yeah, Bitcoin a bit more bearish actually compared to the altcoins, and yeah, on Bitstamp actually the price is acting differently, and that's because of this high we not have yet connected these price moves, so that we can say something of significance. In my opinion, I mean, maybe I can delete some of these lines, it gets a bit cluttered. Maybe not this line. Maybe I just delete this. So, and that. So, we can still extend this. Yeah. Also, which is now forming, it's very interesting, is on Bitcoin this descending channel. It's also looking like inverse rising wedge with a tiding range right here, and you can almost look at this rising wedge from the present into the past, and by that I mean that you can see how this rising wedge has a low, a high, a similar high, higher low, a similar high, higher low, and then an outbreak, like going backwards. So and that's very interesting. It's not a cupping formation like we had back here, and of course this is important resistance, since this acted as support, and yeah, and as resistance in the past. So this is interesting, rather unusual in my opinion. I have seen patterns like that before, but just they are very rare and usually occur as a descending channel, or this pattern in a broader descending channel. So we could already draw this like that, but I don't favor that way of drawing, so I keep this descending like this one. Yeah, so I mean, if this breaks out, then we could still be in an area of resistance around 9,570 on Bitstamp, and not have a break higher on BitMax. In contrast, we then would have rather more important outbreak, since the descending channel line has already been overstepped. So yeah, I think what you want to look at is a very good question. I would definitely look at both charts for obvious reasons, to be privy to more data. And just a second, I have to look at trade I just entered. So yeah, okay. Yeah, so as I said, just do this like that. Okay. Yeah. Bitcoin, important to look at both the Bitstamp and the BitMax chart. I think the Bitstamp chart could be of more significance, since I usually look at that price at this exchange, and I think it's more reasonable, more clear, and yeah, I think these are actually my reasons, and I think that if Bitcoin stayed in a prolonged equilibrium, it would be more healthy and maybe not more likely, but yeah, more healthy in general. So, okay, good. I think that's it for Bitcoin today. Just to compare it just to Ethereum to the US dollar, we have our highs. Very clear, very distinctive. We had a double top basically around the upper $189, and have now broken out. This didn't really have an upper trend line, but a very nice retest of this line right here. And think if this holds up, then we would look for higher highs again. We now have a nice top with around $9,300, $9,193, not $9,300. That's my bad. And yeah, is there any much more to say? Well, the altcoins seem to be a bit more bullish, and since we now broke out of this descending trend line, and we will now look at $197, $98 ish, and above 200. 200 will be, of course, of some significance. If we break higher, then we will have a daily higher high, and this would then indicate for a more significant trend change on the weekly chart, with around $150 being our higher low. That would also coincide with this area, so not too surprising, and we then could look for more upside into the $250 range. Yeah, so that will be of significance in the next coming days, how this tends to move and tends to play out in the next days, and most likely this week too. Yeah, okay, so that was Ethereum. I think Litecoin on the 4-hour still in an equilibrium, looking very nice with consecutive lower highs, and you can actually draw this like that, and yeah, not really like that, but that is a bit more concerning. So Ethereum definitely on the bullish side of things here, with Litecoin having a more clear least line of resistance on the bottom, and having the tendency to form this maybe descending triangle to have this break to the downside, maybe, and then look back at $54. Yeah. So on range of bullishness, I think Ethereum is most bullish, then Bitcoin, and then Litecoin. Or maybe Litecoin is a bit more bullish actually, not than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin a bit more, but mostly because of this flush, which has concerned me a little bit, that there still is some bear volume hidden. Although it hasn't been of too much significance, and the bullish volume is actually just overstepping the bearish volume previously, or on the previous candle. So for trades, I'm currently in, just looking if I'm actually recording, and yes I am. I am in Bitcoin, Ethereum. I have a stop for a short position coming up on BCH, BTC futures on BitMEX and on anything else. Yeah, on Litecoin too. But that to the upside, because if you look at this chart on BitMEX real quick, just a sec. So, or we just use Coinbase chart. Then on the 1 hourly, we have an ascending triangle with consecutive higher lows and the very clear line of least resistance on the top. So I'm currently in a position with a stop below this low and with another bullish position a little bit smaller, since it's more into the future and a bit more risky, since this could fake out to the upside. A long position, of course, just above this line of least resistance here on the top on this horizontal line. So yeah, not too surprising, of course, that we have a rebound in this area, and not Ethereum, but crypto loves ascending triangles as reversal patterns, as I mentioned quite some time actually, or as I've been mentioning for quite some time on this channel. Yeah, so we have Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, just to give you some insight on what I'm currently looking at. And yeah, so Bitstamp, as I said, already begun, and BitMEX and Bitstamp didn't. So maybe looking at this on the 15-minute, this could be maybe a point where we could say that the likelihood of this breaking to the upside is a bit more, or is a bit higher than in the past on right here, since we now have higher highs, maybe not really, but higher highs on the 15-minute time frame, and we haven't been which we haven't had, and well since back then. So yeah, okay. A bit late this upload. Hope I get it done rather quick. And yeah, I hope you have a good night. Do some as the charts guys would say, or as Dan would say, do good things. Yeah, have a good night. Hope you are coming along, trading along, doing your stuff, being productive and sort of things. I'll try to be. Yeah. See you guys, you girls, and yeah, you people. Back next time. Bye.